Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Hi, I'm Pride Greg, and today I wanted to talk to you about the 5 precepts. Most Buddhist people will take 5 precepts. Many will take it each and every day. So today I want to explain the 5 precepts and what they actually mean. So the first precept, Panatipata Veramani Sika Padang Samadhyami. I undertake the rule of training to refrain from killing living beings. Now, we take this rule a little bit further, and we say, I undertake the rule to refrain from harming sentient beings, because, as we know, all sentient beings, like ourselves, wish to be happy. And as we don't like to be hurt, nor do they. And so we do our best not to intentionally harm sentient beings of any description. Here in Thailand, we have lots of things like mosquitoes. Now, we don't need to kill the mosquitoes. I don't particularly want them sucking on my blood. They do carry malaria, and they carry dengue fever. But I don't need to kill the mosquitoes. I can put repellent on. I can have mosquito coils. And the mosquito coils are also repellents. They're not insecticides. They don't kill the mosquito. And so we see that it's easy enough not to harm the mozzie. Now, some people can get a bit pedantic and they say, what about when you cut your grass? Well, actually, when you cut your grass, the intent is not to kill insects. The intent is to cut your grass, and so there's possibly not a lot you can do about it. Monks, of course, are not allowed to dig the soil. The reason we don't dig the soil is because by digging the soil we take insects that are supposed to live underneath the ground and we place them on the surface. This will kill them. We take insects that are supposed to live on the surface and we place them under the ground. This will also kill them. And so as a monk, I'm not allowed to dig in the ground. Oh, the second rule. Adina dana veramani sika padang samadhyami. I undertake the rule of training to refrain from stealing. That one, fairly obvious. Don't nick stuff. However, you do get the situation, in the West you often hear people talking about perks of the job. So they take a pen home, they take some paper clips home. If these haven't been given to you by your employer, it is actually stealing. Another thing we like to do is take a few extra minutes over our breaks. Get a 15-minute break for morning tea. We take 18 minutes. At 30 minutes for lunch, we take 35 minutes. This is stealing. This is stealing from your employer. You're stealing time. So this is something that we need to be looking at. Brahmacharya veramani sika padang samadhyami. This is undertaking the rule to refrain from sexual immorality. So what is sexual immorality? Okay, if you have a partner, you must be faithful to your partner. You can't be running around with other people while you're supposed to be with somebody else. Of course, there's rape, there's having sex with somebody who's too young, somebody who's mentally deficient. And so all of these things come under sexual immorality. The next one, Musawada Veramani Sika Padang Samadhyami. I undertake the rule of training to refrain from false or harsh speech. Now, one of the biggest ones here is gossip. I had gossip explained to me once this way. Well, you take a big bag full of feathers and you walk up the main street of town, and a bit of a breeze blowing, and every step you take you pull some feathers out of the bag and you throw them up into the air and let them scatter on the wind. When you get to the end of town, you turn around and you begin to collect the feathers back and put them back in the bag. You cannot possibly collect all of the feathers that are blown on the breeze. And gossip is like this. We hear something and we spread it to the next person and to the next person, and they spread it, and who they spread it to other people. And then we discover that in actual fact what we've said, what we've heard, is incorrect, and so we try and take it back. We can't. The damage has been done. It's out there, so please be very careful with things like gossip. Next one. Sura Meraya Maja Pama Datana Vera Mani Sika Padang Sama Diyami. I undertake the rule of training to refrain from intoxicants that lead to heedlessness. Now, I hear people say, well, I only have 1 or 2 drinks. That's okay, it's not breaking the precept. 1 or 2 drinks doesn't make me drunk. This may be true. However, the rule says refraining from intoxicants that lead to heedlessness. Now, I can take the road that leads from Phang to Chiang Mai, and I can get off in Chai Prakan. I haven't gone to Chiang Mai, but I'm on the road that leads to Chiang Mai. This precept says refraining from intoxicants that lead to heedlessness. It doesn't say I refrain from getting drunk. Now there are other people who say, oh well, Lord Buddha didn't mention getting stoned. True. But I think if you were to take the spirit of this particular precept, you would see that getting stoned was just as bad as getting drunk. Now, why do we take these precepts? Well, actually they're a training in sila, morality. The first 4, to refrain from killing or harming living beings, to refrain from stealing, from false speech, to remain celibate, or to abstain from sexual immorality, they protect other people. They prevent us from causing harm to others. The 5th one protects ourselves. We can do so much damage to ourselves when we get drunk or when we get stoned. I know. I used to be a heroin addict. I've seen the pain and the suffering as a result of heroin addiction. Now, these 5 precepts, many people, as I say, will take them each and every day. And some people say it's okay to break the precepts. They're not a bunch of thou shalt nots. Actually, it's not okay to break the precepts. If you're going to break them, why bother to take them? You are lying to yourself. Why would you want to do that? It's just ridiculous. Now, the 5th precept, to abstain from intoxicants. Another reason that this is often seen as one of the most important of the precepts is because you break this one and the others can fall so quickly. There are people in prison today who've committed various different crimes. And if you were to have a look at the statistics and see how many of them are drunk and stoned at the time of committing the crime, you'll see just how important it is to try and stick to this particular precept. Now, if you were to come on a meditation retreat, you would take 3 more precepts. First of all, the third precept, to abstain from sexual immorality, that actually alters to I undertake the rule of training to be celibate. You stand in the temple, meditation retreat, and celibacy becomes the rule. But then we continue on with just a few more. So I'll go through those very quickly. So number 6, Vikala Bhojana Veramani Sika Padam Sama Dhyami. I undertake the rule of training to refrain from eating at the wrong time. We eat our meal between sunup and midday. In some places you will have breakfast and you will have lunch. Other places maybe 1 meal per day, but that is usually the monks only who would eat 1 meal a day. The next one, number 7, Nacha Gita Vadita Visuka Dasana Mala Ganda Vilipana Dharana Mandana Vibhusanatana Veramani Sika Padang Samadhyami. I undertake the rule of training to refrain from dancing, singing, music, watching shows, wearing garlands, beautifying myself with perfumes and cosmetics. These particular rules help us with our meditation. They're purely distractions and we don't need them. And finally, Ucha Sayana Mahasayana Veramani Sika Padang Samadhyami. I undertake the rule of training to refrain from high and luxurious beds and seats. When we have luxurious beds, it's very easy to stay in them. The beds on retreats in monasteries are functional, they're practical, but they're not something that you're immediately attracted to. And so by staying out of your bed, you're better able to practice your meditation. I hope this helps you with a little understanding of the rules.